This section of the lecture or lesson um, talks about incentives. It asks the question, how how do self-interested self-interested people respond to incentives? We have an example here with Homer chasing a donut. Homer's responding to the incentive. He wants a donut, therefore he follows it. Self-interested people respond predictably to changes in the cost and benefit of a choice. If the cost rises or the benefit falls, self-interested people make the choice less often. If the cost falls or the benefit rises, self-interested people make the choice more often. Comparing the extra cost and extra benefit of a small change is called marginal analysis. Economists usually say marginal cost and marginal benefit instead of extra cost and extra benefit. For example, when deciding whether or not to spend another hour working on Econ 210 today, in your case, it's going to be AP Economics, the marginal cost is what you give up by having one less hour to do other things, and the marginal benefit is what you gain by studying one more hour. The marginal cost when deciding whether or not to repair a car you are getting ready to sell is the expense and time lost to repair the car. And the marginal benefit is how much more the car is worth and how much less time you spend selling it if you make the repair. A self-interested person can use marginal analysis to determine whether to increase or decrease how much they choose or do something. Self-interested people increase the quantity when the extra benefit of a small increase is greater than the extra cost. Self-interested people ignore fixed or sunk costs that do not depend upon the decision. Marginal analysis implies, for example, that people purchase less gasoline as the price of gasoline increases and nothing else changes that affects how much gasoline people want, and that people attend class more often when an instructor gives fantastic lectures and nothing else changes that affects how often students want to come to class. Remember, less is not equivalent to zero, and more is not equivalent to infinity. Self-interest is not equivalent to selfish. And finally, the third thing to remember, hindsight is perfect, foresight is not. People often make decisions with imperfect information. Economists have tested the prediction that incentives matter in many contexts and find that people generally act as predicted. Here are some examples. Incentives matter even when the good is addictive. I've got a link to an article that says higher cigarette prices leads to more smokers quitting. Another article reports that cigarette prices reduce rates of smoking and the number of cigarettes sold by tobacco companies. I've got an article in a post that describes the responses by passengers to baggage fees. As baggage fees go up, passengers check fewer bags, carry on more bags, and compete to be first on the plane to find good storage for their carry-on bags. Incentives matter.